It's saying the same thing. It was Saturday afternoon. My first break from work in what felt like years. And the weather couldn't have been more perfect. Trying to keep my mind off the upheaval sparked by Circae's assassination, I lit the backyard grill. Monica and Dina were out shopping for craft supplies, and I had given the staff the day off. It was just myself and Frank at home. I wasn't sure how he felt about me at the moment, but I didn't know how he felt about barbecued ribs. Our cook had left some marinating in the refrigerator. Sure enough, as soon as Frank glimpsed the grill and the meat, he stepped outside to join me. Come to spend some quality time with your old man, have you? Sure, if you could spare a few minutes out of your busy schedule. I like how you can be like such an asshole to your kids. You can be like such a dickhead. Like how fucking dare you? How dare you? I'm going to get the belt. I'm going to get like a wooden spoon. I'm going to beat your ass. Okay. You know what? I'll apologize. You know what? I'm sorry. I know I haven't been around very often lately, but I'm happy to see you now. It's okay. I know you've got the most stressful job in the country, and you've got to feed your family on top of all that. We both chuckle. I turn to tend to the fire. Here, let me try. He grabbed the fan and quickly started waving it over the coals. The fire roared to life. He turned to look at me with a grin on his face, as if he was expecting praise. Don't act like he's done anything special. Not bad, son. Not bad. Thank you, sir. It is in our utmost interest to fulfill our duties with precision. The grilling shall commence in exactly 1 minute and 32 seconds. That was a spot-on impersonation of Lucien. We looked at each other for a second and then burst out laughing. I realized my throat was parched. There was a 6-pack of beer in the kitchen. Hey, why don't you grab us a couple of beers? He looked at me in disbelief. You mean I can I? But mom told me. Is your mom around right now? I don't think so. He stopped himself. Quickly ran inside and returned with 2 beers. We cracked them open, clinked the bottles, and gazed out at the city skyline. For a moment, my thoughts flashed back to my childhood and my relationship with my own father. My father was a hardworking man, and he always had our best interests in mind. Or, at least, that's what he always said. But he had a temper, and would lash out at my mother in fights, and I could hear from my bedroom. By the time of his frank ages, we seldom spoke. Now that I was the president, I was facing more stress than my father ever had. I would have to work hard not to take my frustrations out of my family. Dad, can I ask you something? We're family. You can ask me anything. It's just, I feel like there's just so much you've been hiding from me. About your past, about what's going on right now. Like at dinner after the night at the ball, you told me everything was under control. But it wasn't, was it? I know what happened in the 20s. We learned about it in school. Now, with the protests and the riots, is it going to be the same thing? Dad? Is there going to be a civil war in Sordland? No. I will never let that happen. Good. But what was it like back then? Uncle Peter said the two of you went through a lot. I'm not a kid anymore, you can tell me. Before I could gather my thoughts, the familiar images started flashing before my eyes. Images of soldiers advancing towards me and my friends, weapons drawn. People I knew, friends and neighbors being dragged through the streets and murdered in alleyways. The shock and grief of the faces of fathers, mothers, and orphaned children. They're dark times. It seems like it. But you're nearly a grown man. Let's talk about it. Frank leaned forward in his chair, his eyes wide. Tell Frank about the coup of 1927. I was barely older than you were now. Studying in history at the University of Culture, I was a freshman, excited and young. I had just left the classroom to go back home as I heard the sound of multiple vehicles approaching the campus gates. As they got closer, I realized that they were military camouflage trucks and tanks, carrying hundreds of soldiers. The same soldiers that were supposed to protect Sordland citizens pointed their guns at us. They immediately took control of the facilities. One of my friends asked what was going on, and he was arrested immediately. More and more people got angry and gathered in protest. Frank kept listening, a shocked look on his face. I will tell my son everything. Just like you, Chat. Chat, you can ask me anything, too. You can ask me when I got punched in the face by a soldier at my university. I was there with the protesters as they declared martial law. We marched towards them. They threatened to use force, but we stood our ground. So they started beating us. Anyone they saw, including me. The physical wounds took a few weeks to heal, but the mental scars have stayed with me to this day. I was lucky. Some of my friends were shot. Many more were arrested. I can't forget the screams of that day. Frank leaned back in his chair, his shoulders slumped heavily. I'm going all out, Frank. You asked. We're in this now. It was right after I met your mother. We had both joined the same human rights group to push for a change after the coup of 27. But over the next year, the state of Sordland deteriorated. People started picking sides, and I tried to stay away from as much as I could. Then one night, it happened. Two different factions of the army, one led by the Maximist General Ludien, the other by the Socialist General Ricard, started fighting against each other. It was a bloodbath, and nowhere was safe. Frank shifted in his seat, visibly uncomfortable. People organized protests either for or against Ricard. I heard the clashes the next day. Many of my friends were shot or arrested. I isolated myself for months. Enough for today. It's okay. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked you about it. I know I don't understand how easy my life is sometimes. One more thing though. I want to know. I know that you managed to not take any sides. Do you mind if I ask why? You know what? I didn't want to be part of the violence. I had to protect your mother. Frank raised an eyebrow. His curiosity still not satisfied, but sensing my reluctance to go on, he simply nodded. Sorry for bombarding you with questions. I know I complain sometimes, but my problems are nothing compared to what you went through. You're damn right. Your generation will never understand. I'm here to listen to them, no matter what they are. Before Frank could say anything else, I heard the front door unlock. Dina and Monica's voices and the sounds of rustling shopping bags filled the house. All right, I'll be upstairs until dinner. Frank went in and dashed upstairs. I took a long swig of my beer, looking at the city and the now setting sun. I hope that talking to Frank about my past had been a right decision. Part of me felt like if it was some sort of burden that had been lifted. But I still had the same nightmare again that night. 11 news articles? Like, you know how expensive 6 subscriptions are, man? That's like hundreds of dollars a month I'm paying on fucking news. Okay. The Green Act, a misdirected effort. The Green Act, heavily backed by the PFJP, seems out of touch with the prevailing political climate of the country. It suggests a disconnect between policymakers and ordinary Swordist citizen, whose immediate concerns are more likely to center around the economy, job security, and social services. While environmental conservation is important, it should not overshadow the more pressing needs of the people. One hope future policies will better reflect the realities and priorities of the Swordish people. Attacker opened fire on protesters. 17 dead. A man opened fire in a Vesord city center during a protest march organized by the Communist Party of Sordland against the murder of Bernard Serkes. The attacker used a military-grade machine gun dated in 1929, which is suspected to be part of the inventory of the Swordish Armed Forces. The attacker killed himself right after shooting 25 people, killing 16. He took out a weapon from the news stand at the square, brandishing it in yield. "Come, I will give you freedom," one witness said. The highly charged word freedom was previously associated with blooded separatists, but has been used widely during the previous month in protest against the murder of Bernard Serkes. Minister of the Interior Elias Graf said that she has spoken to the chief of Vesord Police and asked him to take a strict action. The government will not tolerate any such incident, and perpetrators will not be spared, she said. That was both of them, right? Yes, okay. Tourism bill signing deserves applause. The signing of the Sordland Tourism and Cultural Preservation Act by President Anton Rayne marks a monumental step in the right direction. The act, designed to amplify Sordland's cultural allure and tourism viability, holds the potential to spark economic recovery. Sordland's path to become a great global tourist destination is now clearer than ever. We anticipate a vibrant future for our nation's tourism industry. Okay. Green, a threat to growth? The newly proposed Green Act, aimed at nurturing a sustainable industrial approach to greenery, raises concerns about stifling economic growth. Sections 1, stringent regulations on industrial pollution and waste disposals could potentially burden business with heavy compliance costs. Though fines will fund environmental recovery projects, the financial strain could outweigh the benefits. While the proposed tax breaks for reducing environmental impact, as outlined in Section 2, appear attractive, they might not compensate for the cost of stricter regulations. Our analysis suggests a balanced approach, marrying economic growth with environmental concerns. Gasum in turmoil, a leadership crisis. The recent financial distress facing Gulsum, one of the pillars of the Swordist economy, highlights a glaring issue at a town. Our investigation reveals a disconcerting narrative of mismanagement spearheaded by Eduardo Alfonso, the current CEO, known for maintaining close ties to ministerial manager. Evidently, their leadership is characterized by a striking absence of cost-cutting initiatives and measures to enhance operational efficiency. Gassam, formerly a beacon of economic prosperity, is now struggling under the weight of poor leadership, underscored by the urgent need for managerial overhaul. Frisian Oil and Gas expresses interest in Gassam. Frisian Oil and Gas, a leading player of the global energy sector, has reportedly expressed an interest in investing in Gassam. This Frisian corporate giant's move could have significant implications for Sordland's domestic energy sector. While this potential investment may raise concerns about foreign influence, it also offers a welcome capital injection into Gassam. It will be interesting to observe how this development unfolds and impacts the dynamics of Sordland's energy industry. Okay, just check to make sure that Twitch didn't crash like it sometimes does. One of the most anticipated matches between the football club Glesor and football club Enrica was postponed because of the intense protests in the city of Enrica. The league has issued the following statements regarding the situation. Due to safety reasons, the players are compromised during this time of trouble. We have decided to postpone the game. Moreover, we stand in solidarity with the fans, our players, and the people of Enrica in a fight against injustice. Okay. Mayor Curtin Les has also made a statement. It's a tragic day of Sordland where the president himself refused to act in the face of communism. It is said that inaction breeds doubt and fear. Thus, I fear that the spread of communism has sown deeper into the heart of the nation than we thought. However, I and the people of Enrica will never stop fighting for the soul of our great country. Okay, nothing for you. What? Did I click on this? Wait. Okay, no, we didn't read this one. The proposed Green Act, championed by forward-thinking members of the Assembly, could be a transformative step for Sordland. The act, if signed by President Rayne, would introduce stricter regulations on industrial pollution and waste disposal, providing a much-needed push towards environmental responsibility. Particularly in Gruni, businesses that fail to meet these new standards would face fines, and the revenue of which could contribute to the environmental recovery projects. Simultaneously, those demonstrating significant reductions in their environmental impact would enjoy tax breaks. The creation of a small investment fund for eco-friendly practices represents a pioneering approach to industrial sustainability. It's high time we put the environment at the heart of our policy making, and we urge President Rayne to sign this crucial legislation. Undemocratic elections. Sordland has an election threshold of 10%. This means that any political party that are under 10% of the vote cannot enter the assembly. This is the very reason why the United Sordland Party holds 52% of the seats in the assembly today. It is also the reason why the largest ethnic minority in Sordland is non-existent in Sordland politics. The last election was shown that the pro-Bloodish WPB has an enormous voter base of just above 9%, but it failed to meet the 10% threshold and couldn't enter politics. Similarly, the CEPS has won 8% of the general vote, but was eliminated. This means that millions of votes were not represented in our current government. Moreover, this has benefited the USP in the most and gave them lawmaking power. The undemocratic threshold needs to be lowered so that there is true representation in the assembly and that a true representation of their voices. No one can call Sordland a democracy without a decrease or a constitutional proposal that does not include such a change democratic. Okay, and in geopolitics, what's going on in the world? A recent report on workers' rights released by the reformist faction within the Continental Security Pact has stirred international discourse, attracting both considerable attention and critical skepticism. While the report offers a ostensibly comprehensive overview of labor conditions within CSP members, critics argue that the data could benefit from a more nuanced and detailed analysis. The CSP's assertive claim of surpassing global standards in terms of minimum wage and unionization rates is a contention that invites closer scrutiny. It remains essential to distinguish between stated policy objectives and the actual situation on the ground. The debate... Considering the complexity of labor dynamics. The debate underlines the need for transparency in evaluating such claims and reinforces the importance of independent verification. Enrica is taking strategic steps towards diversifying its economic portfolio, with a keen focus on investing in energy exporting nations. This approach not only indicates Enrica's intent to strengthen its economic stability, but also underlines its foresight in recognizing the burgeoning value of energy sectors worldwide. Additionally, Enrica appears to be charting an innovative path by expressing a commitment to financially support support nations outside the ambit of ATO and CSP influence. This indicates a clear intent towards fostering global neutrality, marking a potential deviation from the conventional alignment with major power blocs. As this approach takes shape, the international community will be closely monitoring its potential impacts on the global economic landscape. Fantastic. What do we have in the news today? Well, let's look at the world map. We got some stuff going on in the south. The Risian Oil and Gas, ROG, has extended a co-investment proposal for Sordland's ambitious Gassum energy venture. King Romas emphasized a bilateral benefits of such cooperation and its potential in bolstering the region's energy security. He also stressed that this collaborative venture could form a bedrock of a stronger economic alliance, further binding our nations. See, the problem, Rizzi, with you is that you're good friends with Rumburg. And Rumburg, unfortunately, is like a hostile state. So, I mean, it's not great. What's going on in the ATO? Aid to Agnolia. In an emphatic display of international solidarity, the Arcaisian Treaty Organization has committed a significant financial and military aid to Agnolia, located in the heart of eastern Makopa. A region rife with geopolitical complexities, Agnolia stands at a crossroads of economic challenges and potential security threats from Rumburg and Vogtland. This aid package is designed to enhance Agnolia's economic stability and bolster its military capabilities, fortifying it against possible CSP advances and further Rumburg hostilities. As part of the ATO's larger goal to secure its capitalist allies against the spread of socialism, this assistance displays the ATO's commitment in supporting its member nations in time of need. Okay. What's going on in... What are you? Mission in Wayland. We got a mission in the north as well. What are our reports? So the big news right now is actually Narbel. You might be about Rumburg. H3 report from SSC. Project manager for the A3 highway has reported the project has been progressing well, and they're already starting laying down the foundations of the ground retaining walls, bridges, and earthworks. Hello, QFabus. How are you? Project supervisors from the government confirmed the report, saying that most of the preliminary work has already been done by the SSC. However, the government officials added that there were a couple of delays relating to the transportation of construction materials, which were not included in the SSC's report. I mean, the economy, I mean, it's looked better. There's no doubt about that. But we'll fix it, okay? It'll be like all the way up here. It'll actually be past the screen once we're done with this, okay? Like, we're gonna be the richest country on Earth. Right now, we're 16th, which is not great. But we'll be better for sure. Okay. Yesterday at around 11 a.m., the prison riot started in Ward C of the Antel Rock prison. Okay. Warden was killed by a British political prisoner. 4 guards and 21 prisoners died. That's a lot of people dying in a prison riot. Okay. Morning industrial output concerns. The mayor of Morna has reported that their industrial output numbers this year are 12% lower than last year. They're requesting additional support to improve their industrial capabilities, including the machinery and personnel to combat the downward trend. With the construction of several new factories in Morna, the mayor stated his belief that the economic upturn in the city is still possible if the government investments succeed. According to the current projections, Morna is set to lose an additional 2% of industrial output next year. However, recent data from the municipality suggests that an investment worth several billion of SR would stop the downward trend and increase industrial output in a short amount of time. Okay. What's going on in Howlsord? Many members of the USP, led by Albin Kalavin and the reformist wing of the party, clarified their demands from the government in the party congress. For the upcoming constitutional reform, Albin Kalavin stated that without ministry reforms, they won't be able to stand behind the new reform package. Okay. What's going on in Narbel? Let me just take a quick... take a little drink before we get in here. Do I call myself Anth because I'm Anthony, or do I call myself Will because that's my name? I don't know. But saying like Willie needs drinky it's a little silly. Okay. I was traveling to the snow-covered city of Narbel in the Nargis region for the Rural Development Forum organized by the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education. The mountainous city was infamously one of Sordland's poorest. It had a gritty edge, and its people were hardy and wary. Even after the discovery of gas and oil in the area, years of neglect by central government was apparent on the buildings and general infrastructure. The natural resources were now under the control of Gossam, which elevated the corporation to a place of power. My task in this forum were mainly symbolic. Fake smiles and handshakes with oil barons, meeting with local politicians, but most importantly of all, making sure that Narbel did not feel like it was forgotten by the government. Scenery so far, however, was a reflection of Narbel's neglect. The main roads of the city were not maintained well. There were many bumps and empty discolored spots in the asphalt. Navigating and swerving to avoid the inconveniences, our motorcade finally started nearing the city. As if my discomfort from the bumpy ride was apparent to him, Sergei rolled down the partition window. "We'll be arriving in the Hotel West in a few minutes, sir." "Okay, thank you for letting me know. Anytime, it is my duty." After a moment, Sergei started to smile under his mustache. What's the smile for? "Sir, I just want to say, it has been great these last 2 months. As you know, my wife Susan recently gave birth to our son, and now my daughter just started a very good high school in Hollisord." Okay. Life's going to get a lot busier. That's great news, Sergei. I'm happy for you. I appreciate it, sure, truly. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to afford a good private school if she scored less on the entrance exams, but I shouldn't have made my insecurities get to me. Erica outsmarts me all the time. I'm very proud to have a daughter like her. Macy has her smarts from her mother. Okay. You know what? I also hope that Dana will grow up to be like her mother someday. I'm sure she will, sure. After all, she's the daughter of a lion and a lioness. My daughter looks up to the First Lady for inspiration, and it's not just limited to my daughter, sir. She's an inspiration for almost all women in the country. But at the same time, it must be hard for the First Lady. All his attention, adjusting to this new high-profile life, and a husband that has great responsibility. You're right. It is hard for her. It must be, sir. We sometimes forget the important people in our lives between all the responsibility and rush. You know, those we care for. Yes, I agree. Why would I want to be like, Sergei's one of the nicest people in this game. I don't know, why would he be a dick to him? Has there been new content added? For the last time I played, I believe they've added an entire war... Oh, I didn't mean to press the button. As far as I know, they've added an entire war minigame. If you actually end up going to war, there's actually a turn-based combat mode now. Yeah, I mean, it's been 5 years, though, so I could not tell you exactly what's new. Okay, Sergei continued after a moment of silence. How I told you, sir. We named my son George. The doctor said he is very healthy and thankful. Wait, no. My doctor said he is very healthy, and thankfully, so is my wife. That's good. You know what? Tell me about your wife, Susan. What kind of person is she? She's a good heart. Her family comes from Sarna, so they're a little bit more traditional. Sarna is... Okay, it's in Bergia, in the south. She's beautiful, of course, but what I really admire is her selflessness. It's a respectable trait to have. You know what? No, don't talk about my own wife. Let's keep talking about selflessness is a respectable trait to have. It should be mutual. That's what matters most. Sergei sighed. I've always started thinking about their university education, especially Erica. I want to send her to a good private school, but with the current state of our economy, it's going to be hard for us. I have one personal... Do I send Sergei's daughter to school? I mean, I can't have less than 0. Does that look like does that look like it's impropriety? You got to put your kids through school? I mean, I'm the president. Don't I get free education? I'm not too sure how it works. We'll fix the economy. Well, I'm not going to give him... I'm not going to give him a handout, okay? We'll fix the economy one way or the other. If anyone can, that's you, Mr. President. The car hit a major pothole in a bump, which lifted us up from our seats for a second. Are you fine? Yes, sir. I hope the car is fine, too. Motorcade began to approach the hotel. The Hotel West was supposedly a best hotel in Narbel. A large 25-story main building was undoubtedly one of the taller and more expensive buildings in the city. It towered over the nearby slums, and it had been a target for a protest when it was first built. The crowd was gathering in front of the hotel with a welcome committee at its center. As we approached the red carpeted entrance, I could see the mayor of Narbel and his top aides. Sordland got out of the car and opened the door. He bowed his head respectively and gestured towards the entrance. You've got to be, come on, you got to be nice. You got to be nice to Sergei. Thank you. Have a good day, Mr. President. As soon as I left the vehicle, the fresh air of Narbel filled my lungs. Almost immediately, everybody present in the crowd flocked over to me with an excessive display of courtesy, smiles, and handshakes, while I donned the mask of a politician. The mask that I was very, very used to.